This is the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
From 98.1 CHFI Studios in Toronto, Canada.
Hey Toronto, this is Ed Sheeran.
This is Kelly Clarkson.
Hi, this is Bryan Adams.
This is Adele.
This is Madonna.
It's Michael Bublé, and you're listening to the Pooja and Gurdeep Show. It's fun. They're amazing.
Did you know that Toronto has a concert curse?
No.
There's something called the Toronto concert curse.
I'm
this
sorry.
is a thing.
We've hit our quota on curses. I'm sorry, okay? You got the Drake curse already, where like when he supports any sport franchise, that team loses. You've got the Toronto Maple Leafs curse, which has been almost 60 years of them not winning anything, not even making a final. Too many curses.
Too many curses. We can add this one to the list. At first, I was like, I don't know if there's anything to this. But when you actually look at the list of concerts that had to be postponed in Toronto, it's quite long. Most recently, an R&B singer-songwriter, Jhené Aiko, canceled her Magic tour that was happening at Scotiabank Arena. A lot of people lined up for tickets and then found out last minute, and they were very disappointed. Now, that's a name you might have not heard of, but there have been many, and this goes way back. This goes to 2022. I guess Drake, a while back in 2022, he postponed his Young Money reunion tour at Budweiser stage.
He postponed it, but he still eventually did it, right?
He eventually did it. The Weeknd also postponed.
Drake he's like, I need a one day off. That's why he postponed it. So Drake, that's fine.
Okay, what about the Weeknd? He was just enjoying a weekend.
It was a weekday, so he couldn't do it.
Justin Bieber canceled 2 shows. This was back in 2022, but he was ill.
Yeah, that's not just Toronto. That's the whole tour that's affected. That's not just us.
Yeah, but like Toronto's the center of the universe. Everybody knows that.
This is why no one likes us.
Casey Musgraves canceled her show in Toronto. This was due to inclement weather.
Oh, okay.
You don't have anything for that, right?
No, that one, I got nothing for that one.
We do have extreme weather here in Toronto. That's true, right? Dua Lipa postponed her Future Nostalgia tour.
She was on vacation. If you've seen her Instagram, she's always on vacation.
I feel like she's always dancing.
She's always dancing on vacation, so that's fine, Dua Lipa. We love you.
John Mulaney, who's not even a musician, is a comedian, but he postponed his tour date in Toronto, but 4 times.
Okay.
4 times.
That's on you, John Mulaney, you Ivy League guy.
Okay, Kiss canceled their Toronto show in 2023.
They got mono.
Is that what it was? Oh,
Yep.
From too much kissing.
Yep.
Got
Yep.
it. Okay.
That one's understandable. Who else you got?
SZA canceled her Toronto show.
Paper cut. What else you got?
Okay. What about Heart?
Oh, yeah, Heart. That was totally reasonable. They had a cardiologist appointment. These are all reasonable. It's not a curse. It affects other cities, and I can explain all of them except for Casey Musgraves.
From CHFI Studios,
It's the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
I love love. You know that about me. So
I think you need to change your Instagram bio to loves love.
I love, 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 love. Just lots of loves. I came across this story of this couple who got married in New York, but because it's so expensive to get married these days, everything's so expensive, they decided not to do a traditional reception in a banquet hall because it was just going to cost way too much.
Yep.
And instead, they got married on the L train in New York City, on the subway.
They got married on the New York subway?
Yes. And they hired a wedding planner. There was cake. There was decorations. There was food. There was beverage. They only invited like 20 friends.
Was Pizza Rat the maid of honor? Like, what? On the subway?
Very well could have been. And then, of course, passengers on the train were just also guests at their reception.
Oh, so they didn't reserve a whole cart. They just walked on to a cart.
So I don't really know how that works in terms of permission, but they did pay $3,000. That's what it ended up costing them.
The city, I guess?
For the wedding.
But
so
I've been on the New York subway. It's packed at the best of times. How do you even make sure? What if the bride's just holding on to a thing? There's no aisle. You can't walk down the aisle.
Well, maybe it's one of those things where you see a woman in a wedding dress and you kind of you give up your seat or you make room for the bride. But it was a big party. You look at the pictures and you watch the video of this reception, it was a time. And complete strangers just getting in on it, part of their love story, got to hear some speeches. It was a whole thing.
What? They had speeches?
They had a host. They had an MC.
Was there a D floor and open bar? Where's that at?
There might have been. There were disco balls. It was a whole thing.
There were actually disco balls?
No.
Okay.
But decor.
Okay, I don't know how much of this is real and how much of this is not real.
It was so much fun. And all I kept thinking was, in my lifetime, I've got to attend a wedding on a subway. I have to do it. You think we could do this at the TTC? You think this could be a thing? Should I not be encouraging it?
And you know what? The TTC goes to 1 or 1:30, which is when most banquet halls shut down anyways. The TTC, there's less lines, so you'd just be going back and forth on the same line probably, so it's less exciting.
Yeah, but you'd get to meet strangers. It'd be a lot of fun.
And just like at every wedding and on the subway, there's always one super drunk guy. There's a lot more parallels here than I thought.
The Pooja and Gurdeep Podcast.
This is the Pooja and Gurdeep Podcast.
So this is interesting. More Canadian millennials are signing up for prenups before they get married. And Pooja, I'm about to get real personal with you. Can I ask you, do you have one with Paul?
You can ask me, and I do not have one. Interesting. It's one of those things where I wonder sometimes if he had asked for one, how would I feel? And millennials are doing this more and more, but for me, I feel like it just takes all the romance out of our love story. And maybe I'm just naive. Maybe I'm a hopeless romantic. I don't know. But there's something about talking about the end and things going sideways before we're even beginning that I don't like.
But do you have to talk about it? It's just like, hey, can we get the? It's like a quick insurance policy on your marriage. It's unpleasant. You quickly sign the papers and then you never speak of it again, hopefully.
Yeah, but then I also feel like, why does it even need to come up? I mean, if you're getting married, this is your life partner. This is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Hopefully this is somebody that you trust. And for me, I feel like when we came to the table, Paul certainly had a lot more to lose than I do. So for him, a prenup would actually make sense. He's a lawyer. It would completely make sense. But the fact that he didn't ask for one, I think made me trust him more because I'm like,
interesting.
I'm like, oh, he must really trust me.
I see. Okay, I hadn't gone that far down the thought path, but the fact that he didn't ask you just got you that much more sort of attracted to or into the whole situation.
Yeah, I'm like, I think this is true love.
I like that. All that said, you know me, I'm a numbers guy.
And you're practical.
And I'm practical. Listen, if I got married in my 20s, I probably wouldn't even have thought about this. I didn't really have anything and whatever, right? You're so in love at that point. But being 41 now, if I were to get married, 50% is a divorce rate. More and more people are doing this. I just think, look, especially if you've come from a broken home, I think you're probably more sensitive to this. You know things can go sideways. I just think it's a smart thing. I would absolutely ask for a prenup, even though it might be a little bit of a romance killer.
Yes. And I mean, the other part of this is that it just make it easier to just get out? You're like, okay, I don't have to work on this. I don't have to try.
I'm saying. Listen, divorces can be so messy and unpleasant.
But we don't want to make it easy. We want to make it hard so you fight for the relationship.
I don't know. Absolutely not. You know what? This is now a no-brainer for me.
We want prenup. We want prenup. Yeah.
From CHFI Studios,
It's the Pooja and Gurdeep Podcast.
So it's wedding season, and we're hearing that more and more Canadian millennials are signing prenups before they get married. And we're wondering, how do you feel about it? Have you signed one? Would you?
I would absolutely. I'm nowhere close to getting married, but people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, I'm happy to see they're doing this because you're potentially, obviously you hope that the marriage works out, but the fact is 50% of them don't, and this is going to save you heartache down the road. I'm an advocate of practice safe marriage.
Practice safe marriage?
Practice safe marriage, sign a prenup.
I'm just an advocate of love.
Yeah.
I love love. I love the romance of love. I just want to believe.
Until it ain't love no more and it's a courtroom.
True, until it all goes sideways. But I don't want to talk about it going sideways before
But you only
we
talk
even
about
start.
it once, and then you file that contract away in a desk and never have to look at it again, hopefully.
Yeah, until it comes out in an argument and resentment.
You start waving the prenup in the air? As an
Yes.
argument? Okay, so Pooja and I don't agree on this, which is fine. That's okay. How do you feel about prenups? Where are you on them? Let's go to Mary in Georgetown.
Well, my mom had the best prenup I've ever heard of. I should have gotten one, but I never did. But her prenup said that whatever was hers, whatever was his was theirs.
Whoa, hold on, wait a minute. Time out. Is that even legal?
I don't know. That was in 1949. My grandfather didn't trust my father because he was in debt and he felt that he was like a playboy. So to protect my mom, he had this prenup drawn up that everything that was hers, because she had money, was hers. And whatever was his was going to be theirs.
So it's what's mine is mine, what's yours I'll give you half of. That
exactly.
is brilliant.
Wow.
And it turned out she did use it.
Oh, wow.
Because she always worked and she got a pension and she was 2 years older than he was. So when she started collecting her pension, he wanted half and he got it for a month or so. She went to the lawyer with her prenup and she had it stopped.
Oh my goodness.
So they did get divorced.
Oh yeah, they separated when I was a teenager, a long, long time ago.
Okay. Wow.
He was a playboy. Yeah.
Wow.
Mary,
Mary,
forget romance. This is genius.
This is something. Pooja's like, wait a minute. Mary, thanks for your candor and your vulnerability. We appreciate you sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
I mean, you asked if it's legal, but I guess if you're writing it up and the person agrees to it, I mean, it all goes.
He's like, I'm a playboy. I'll sign whatever.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Paige in Niagara Falls. How do you feel about prenups?
So I have to agree with your co-host. My husband and I have been together for about 8 years now. And when we first met, I did make more money. It wasn't significant to him. But since we've been together and then before we got married, I actually am a business owner and quite successful. And my husband's actually stayed home with our daughter. And I would never get my husband to sign a prenup. I think I have to agree with your co-host. I trust him with everything. And I think that it's an act of faith that I trust him and not having to get him to sign a prenup.
Interesting. Okay. It's nice to hear another perspective as well, because I get the practical side and I can't argue with the practical side. It makes sense. And there is maybe something to it about being naive, because I'm sure if I'm in a situation where it benefited me, I would have been like, wish I had one.
Right.
But I'm with you, Paige.
Yeah, you have to give people the benefit of the doubt. And especially as a woman in being a little bit more successful, I mean, you do have to protect yourself. So I definitely understand the practical side of it. But also you have to have faith in people. And when you fall in love with somebody, you want to fall in love wholeheartedly. So you just have to give people that benefit of the doubt and trust.
Yeah.
I feel so inspired, but I'm also still a numbers guy. But Paige, we love the perspective.
I'm a big numbers guy too. That's why I own a business. I'm all about the numbers. But my heart took over when I met my husband, and I knew he was the one, and I wanted to be with him forever and fight for a relationship no matter what.
I love that.
So sweet. Thank you for sharing that, Paige. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. You guys have a wonderful day.
You too. I know you always say you love Pooja, but compared to Paige, you only like love.
Yeah, she loves
love.
Yes, Paige. Okay, should we end with Frankie Flowers for Breakfast Television?
Final say goes to Frankie Flowers, who's on the line. Frankie, what about prenups?
So prenups are called prenups agreements, right? And basically in a legal context, agreement means if we should ever disagree, let's figure it out now. Being a divorced man, absolutely.
I thought maybe you were a lawyer or something, because it sounded like you...
We're getting an education there.
Yeah, you knew what you're talking about.
When you go through a divorce, you learn a lot about marital law in Canada.
That's fair. Frankie, you can tell me to shut up if I'm prying. Did you have a prenup the first time around?
I did not. So it is something, you know what? Love is blind and love is blind.
Yeah, love is blind. And Frankie, if you and I are single much longer, we'll both be golden bachelors. Sorry, I thought we were doing a reality TV
okay, then
thing.
you could be a perfect match.
Is that a show?
That's a show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then Frankie and I go on a cruise together. We can hit it up below deck.
Yes, and then you can be married at first sight. Also a show.
All right, I don't watch reality TV, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead.
Thanks for listening to the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
Listen to Pooja and Gurdeep live weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Only on 98.1 CHFI.
Toronto's perfect music mix.